Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Misad Bulletin. And we shall start with our headlines. Kenya's president sworn in for new term amid demonstrations. Pope demands rights for all in Myanmar. And moving on to our details, starting with the Syrian profile. A Syrian Foreign Ministry official says the government delegation will arrive in Geneva to take part in direct peace talks with the opposition. The official said in Damascus that the delegation will take part in talks starting Wednesday afternoon, and the delegation will be headed by Bashar Ja'fari, Syria's representative at the United Nations. From another perspective, the Geneva talks are scheduled to begin on Tuesday, and the unified opposition delegation has already arrived. In Nairobi, Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta was sworn into office for his second term in front of tens of thousands who gathered on Tuesday in the country's largest stadium to celebrate what they hoped would be the end of months of election turmoil. Several regional heads of state attended Kenyatta's inauguration amid tight security as the country attempted to move forward. However, during the ceremony, police fired guns and tear gas in other parts of the capital, Nairobi, as officers attempted to stop the opposition from holding peaceful demonstrations in memory of dozens killed during weeks of election protests. On the other side of the world, Greek counterterrorism police detained 9 Turks in Athens on Tuesday in an investigation connected with Turkish leftist militant groups. A police statement said the Turkish nationals, 8 men and a woman, were detained in the central Athens areas of Neis Cosmos and Kalisia earlier Tuesday. Police also said the operation was not connected with suspected Islamist terrorism. The detainees are suspected of links with the Revolutionary People's Liberation Party Front, deemed a terrorist organization by Turkey, the United States, and the European Union. Noteworthy, this comes ahead of a scheduled visit next month by Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan on December 7th and 8th. On to illegal immigration profile, Romania's Coast Guard on Tuesday rescued 66 migrants, including dozens of children, aboard a Turkish ship on the Black Sea. A statement said the ship reported engine trouble early Tuesday as it was being battered by high winds in rough waters some 35 kilometers from the Black Sea coast, and asked Romanian authorities and a commercial ship in the area for help. The Coast Guard dispatched 2 ships to the area and escorted the vessel to the Black Sea port of Constanta. It's worth mentioning that the migrants, comprising 31 men, 11 women and 24 children, are from Iraq, Pakistan and Afghanistan. On another side, Pope Francis insisted on Tuesday that Myanmar's future depends on respecting the rights of each ethnic group. Pope Francis lamented how Myanmar's people have suffered and continue to suffer from civil conflict and hostilities, and insisted that everyone who calls Myanmar home deserves to have their basic human rights and dignity guaranteed. In his most anticipated speech of his week-long trip to Myanmar and Bangladesh, the Pope expressed support for Suu Kyi's efforts to bring about reconciliation among different groups after decades of military dictatorship. Suu Kyi, for her part, said the government's aim is to carry forward the peace process and strengthen Myanmar's diversity. On to natural crisis, a volcano gushing towering columns of ash closed the airport on the Indonesian tourist island of Bali for a second day on Tuesday, disrupting travel for tens of thousands. Mount Agung has been hurling clouds of white and dark gray ash about 4,000 meters high, and lava is welling in its crater. The local airport authorities said its closure for another 24 hours was required for safety reasons. The closure of the airport has affected tourists already on Bali and people who were ready to fly to the island from abroad or within Indonesia. This comes as volcanic ash from Agung is moving south-southwest toward the airport. And finally, economic news. European shares were higher on Tuesday following a downbeat day in Asia. In Europe, France CAC 40 gained 0.5% to 5,384, while Germany's DAX added 0.3% to 13,036. Britain's FTSE 100 edged up 0.5% to 7,423. US shares were set to drift higher at the open, with the futures and the broader S&P 500 futures up 0.2%. Meanwhile, Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 was nearly unchanged at 22,486.24, while the Shanghai Composite recovered to 333.66, up 0.3%. This comes after German Chancellor Angela Merkel said her conservative bloc was willing to discuss forging a stable government with the Social Democrats. And before ending our news, let's take another look at the most important headlines for today. Kenya's president sworn in for new term amid demonstrations. Pope demands rights for all in Myanmar. And we reach the end of our MISAT bulletin for today. Thank you for joining us and see you tomorrow in a new bulletin.